girls and boys, today we are going to be making dimensional tunnel books, and we're going to be focusing on creating depth using foreground, middle ground, and background. Here is an example of what we're going to be making. A larger version of what I want you to be seeing in your tunnel book. You can see the foreground, the middle ground, and the background. When creating the foreground of your tunnel book, I want you to think about three things: more detail, brighter color, larger size. When I created the foreground for my tunnel book, I decided to use pen to add a little bit more detail. I also made the grass a little bit larger in comparison to the rest of the tunnel book. When you're creating the middle ground of your tunnel book, I want you to think about three more things. This time I want you to think about less detail, duller colors, and medium size. For my tunnel book, I actually created three middle grounds. So I have my first hill, and with each one I tried to dull the color. I have my second hill, and in the back I have my third. Now with the hills, my choice was that I wanted to create some overlapping. So when they're placed together, you will see that it looks like the hills go further back. And here's the grass in front. So far, this is what my tunnel book would look like. When creating the background of your tunnel book, I want you to think about these three things: least amount of detail, dullest color, smallest size. When we're talking about backgrounds, it would be the thing furthest in the distance. So for mine, I wanted to also add a little bit of an element of interest, since the idea of a tunnel book is that you're looking through it. On my tunnel book, I added the detail of some mountains. That also reflects where the hills would be seen, but I wanted to not add too much detail when looking at my mountains, so they're very basic shapes and basic colors. And this is what my tunnel book would look like, overlapping, all placed together, laying flat. The next step we're going to do is adding the sides to create the tunnel in our books. With this, we're going to need 6 of these accordion pieces and 2 that have their ends cut off a little shorter. Those 2 are going to be set aside to be the front of our tunnel book. I'm going to place glue on one side, match up my edges of my fold to the edge of the paper, and then I'm going to glue the other side. Match up this folded edge to this edge of the paper. Then I'm going to add glue on top of here and here, and get my second to last piece. It'll be easiest if you keep these in order so that you won't be scrambling to figure out what piece goes where. Now I'm ready for my next accordion pieces. This time, I'm making sure to leave the shorter end at the top. That way, when we get to our last page of our tunnel book, you'll be able to have it so that it doesn't stick out. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. Because the frame of our last page, or actually our first page, the foreground, is a little thinner, we want to have our tunnel book pieces not stand out. So, I'm going to give my tunnel book a little bit to dry so that you can see what it looks like finished. And here is the finished piece. I want you to be creative and think about foreground, middle ground, and background while you're creating your tunnel books.